Hey everyone, NWA Prepper here. So today I kind of want to talk a little bit about being prepared. I talk about that a lot in a lot of different ways, but today I want to talk about it in a way mostly referring to, kind of a personal experience. Number one is, if you're into preparedness, if you think it's important, why do you think it's important? What are the things that make you do what you do? And if you're doing it and you're new to it, or if it's just a hobby, what are your motivations? My motivations are, I don't want my family to need something, and I mean need it, not want something. I don't want my family to need something and not have it. And the things I'm talking about are like medicine, clothing, a roof over their head, the basic necessities of life, if you ask me. So what happens when they don't have that? I mean, we prepare all the time, and I talk about feed them or eat them, or feed them or fight them. And what I mean by that is, I firmly believe that we need to take care of each other today, to help each other today, because the more people that I encourage to have a bug out bag, the more people I encourage to have some extra medicine around, the more people I encourage to have some knowledge and skills about food preparation, well, that is one less person that I have to immediately worry about when times get really hard. And I focus on that, and I kind of get lost in, I don't talk about the zombie apocalypse type stuff very often, but it's the big things, the big things that keep me going. And I don't talk about it. Why? Because I focus on the everyday things. Well, I had forgotten that. And so one of the things that I prepare for are, and most preparedness minded people do, is we try to prepare for when there are other people that have not prepared. How are we going to handle it? Are we going to give them things? Are we going to have smaller giveaway bags? Are we just going to tell them no and be prepared to fight? Are we going to share everything we have with them? There's as many ways to look at it as there are people. But part of what we do is we plan on how to protect ourselves or how to deal with those that do not have. And often, hummingbirds, often we forget that someday we may be in that position. And though I'm very blessed that my story is short term, it is a very short term thing. It is still just incredibly stressful to go through a moment where someone in your family needs something and you can't provide it. It sucks a giant weenie whistle. And I have been blessed to not be in a position that I couldn't work another shift, or I mean, there wasn't a way for me to make it happen, or I knew it was coming in a couple weeks and I could take care of it then, or there's still always a way. But we had an immediate need, a right now need, and I forgot. And all I looked at is the bottom line in my checking account. And it was empty. And my wife needed medicine. That was expensive. It is expensive and hard to deal with. And instead of being able to take a breath and remember that I had resources available to me, I forgot. And I panicked. And all I could think of is what do I have to do to get my wife this medicine? And I spent the better part of today beside myself, thinking of ways that I can get it. And of course, the things that came into my head were not the things that I, not just terribly crazy things, but they were like, well, what do I got to do? Well, how am I going to get this medicine? And it got me to thinking, if over this, that I was so frustrated and I couldn't think, nothing popped into my head that I wouldn't do to get that medicine. And I'm not talking about breaking into my neighbor's house or doing criminal activity. But it's like, well, I just couldn't fathom, what do I got to do? I got to get this. I've got to find the money for this. I've got to do this now. And I did. It's important. And I could always ask people, I could always ask for help. And with where the rubber meets the road, that's probably what I would have to do. But again, it got me to thinking about, if I will go there over this one thing, what would I do if I couldn't feed my family? What would I do if their medicine, I didn't have it anymore? I didn't have access to it. I couldn't rack my brain and come up with a solution. What would I do? And as the thoughts of all the desperate things came through my head today, I took a moment and I took a breath, and I realized that I had a way to take care of it, and I did. And then it was like, oh my gosh, if I thought of that, what is somebody who doesn't have I don't know, what somebody who doesn't have my same morals, my same ethics? What if somebody was in that position and they didn't think it was beyond despicable to take something that wasn't yours? What if they was someone who didn't think anything about harming someone else to get what they wanted? And that scared me, to know that there are so many people that go through that position every day that don't have a backup plan, that don't just need to calm down for a minute and go, oh, I can do this to handle that. Or what about capable people that all of a sudden are not capable? What are the things that they're willing to do to take care of their family, to put food in their hungry children's belly? And I can tell you, I believe that there is nothing they wouldn't do. and all the preparedness that we do to be ready for that is never going to be enough preparation, enough mindset, enough thought about how am I going to handle it when somebody comes to my door and I can't help them, or I choose not to help them. What's going to go through their head? What would go through my head? And if something as little as a medicine today would make me think of, things I would normally think about. What about when I couldn't get it tomorrow, or I couldn't just ask for help? What if there wasn't any help? We are not prepared mentally for preparedness. Many people aren't prepared mentally for today, so they're certainly not prepared for later. So I encourage you to do these scenario things with your family, your MAG group, by yourself. Go through these scenarios. I like a game called Conflicted. It's a card game of scenarios. Go through them and really put some thought into how you would handle these stressful situations. Because as someone, I'm in stressful situations daily, but they're different, and I can handle them differently than I could if it was my family or my friends. So put some thought into it. We need to be ready. I believe it starts here, but here is a huge factor as well. So thanks for watching. I know this one was long. I hope it was worth it, and I hope that it gets you to thinking. Let's get ready.